man, your album was really, really good. What I really liked is the fact that you don't sound like Queensryche or Crimson Glory at all. What was your initial purpose behind doing this album? You had told me previously that you had been working on it for lots of time. I guess that pandemic helped you with that.
Yeah. I just wanted to write songs that were fun and were metal and different aspects of metal that I like, that Craig likes, without and doing songs that I miss that I don't hear anymore today. So when I listen to metal today, a lot of that groove that this record has, it's got thrash, it's got groove, it's got aggressive vocals, it's got clean vocal, it's got harmonies, it's got yelling. It has a lot of things. Even though it has diversity, when you listen to the main record, especially songs 1 through 10, it doesn't sound like it's all over the place. It doesn't sound like they don't belong on the record, but you really don't know what you're going to get on the next one because they are different. The approach was just, I just want to write fun songs that kick ass, that make me want to do this and headbang and groove to the music, but also have, hooks and parts that people will remember. So the last thing I wanted to do was to try to sound like Queensryche. I mean, to me, that would be a foolish move. It would be stupid. And I wanted to do heavier music than what Queensryche is. And so that's why the songs are the way that they are.
Mm-hmm. I guess the 3 bonus tracks are named bonus because of the fact that they are somehow almost totally different. I could say, for example, Set It Off features some kind of rap-like vocals.
Yeah.
And 1 by 1 has brutal vocals. Was that the reason that you named them bonus tracks for this?
Yeah, Akrivos. Initially we talked about doing maybe a song for Japan, and then we initially were like, okay, maybe we'll do Fractured for Japan and Set It Off for the US and 1 by 1 for Europe. And then as we got further into the process, we just decided, you know what? When you give a song to Japan, nobody else hears it. When you give a song, then there's multiple versions that the Europeans, they don't have the one with Set It Off, and then the Americans don't get here 1 by 1, and fuck all that. So I said, I want to give everything to everybody. Here's the main record. Here's 3 extra songs that you can listen to also, and everybody gets to hear it. No exclusivity. But yeah, the bonus tracks, like 1 by 1 shouldn't be in the 1 through 10 track listing, but it's a cool song, and it lets me do the brutal vocal that people don't know I can do. And so I said, damn, I love this song, and it's still going to go on the record, even if it's a bonus track. I want people to hear this side of me. And so that's why those are the bonus tracks.
For which death metal band would you like to sing?
For which metal band?
Death metal band.
Oh,
now that you do brutal vocals.
I like Behemoth.
Mm-hmm.
I like Behemoth a lot.
The only thing is that Nergal is the leader of the band, so you can take his place. Okay.
I messaged him because I know him a little bit, and I messaged him to see if he would be interested in doing a vocal, and it was for that song. And he didn't reply back to me, and I thought, okay, well, you know what, I'll do it all myself. But I thought it would be cool to have him do like a vocal thing on it, you know. But you know, I'm capable to do that vocal style, and it's a whole nother side of me that it's fun to do, because when you're doing that, you're not really singing notes. There's if you go yo and you put it on a wave file, it's all over the place. Like if you blow it up to look at the notes in like a tuning program to see what note you're hitting, it's just a bunch of mess. There's no note, but it's vocalizing in a way that gives you an attitude that no matter how brutal you try to sing, it's never going to sound as aggressive as a guttural vocal. But what I like about Behemoth's vocals, for example, are I can understand what he's saying versus, you know, a band like Cannibal Corpse, you know, that style of delivery. I have a hard time understanding the words. You know, when it's more, I don't understand that. So when I do the vocalizing and the gutturals, you can understand the words more clearly.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's the secret of a good and a better death metal singer. That when you can understand the lyrics of the songs, then my wife and me say exactly the same thing. We really like the singers that we can listen to at least to some words and not some guttural voices.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. There's different styles, and you know, if you listen to oh, what's another good example? Like Abath. Even though he's more like, you know, that kind of sound, I can still make out the words. But if you listen to Deicide, I can't make out any of the words, you know. So when I did the gutturals on that song, I wanted to really emphasize the words, but still have the brutality of the guttural sound.
So it's this album, Rejoice in the Suffering. Is it the album, the solo album of Todd the drummer or Todd the singer? You have mentioned lots of times that you're just a drummer who likes to sing. Okay.
Yeah.
We've solved this. Even though you sing, I think that rather better than the average singers. Okay. We've solved it. And you have replaced two legends anyway. So what's this solo album? The drummer or the singer?
You're the first person to ask me this question. The songwriter.
The song. I could expect it. The artist. I had written.
Okay, yeah, that's better.
The artist. Todd the artist.
That's a better answer. That's a better answer than I'm gonna steal your answer.
Yeah. Okay. I give you the credit for that. Okay, you mentioned that you wrote after the song "Rejoice in the Suffering." You wrote "Apology," and that was kind of my next question.
Okay.
Musically, it's like an ending song of a Queensryche album. Musically, I mean, is there a kind of formula that everybody who joins Queensryche or is in Queensryche should write this kind of balladesque song in the end that rips our hearts off? And it's almost always, you know, when I listen to a Queensryche album, I wait until the end because I know that my favorite song will be the last song of the album. The same thing happens with your solo album. What's this? Is it kind of formula? Do they put a chip in your head like people say when you vaccinate, they plant you chip, a microchip?
You know, okay. when we did Condition Human, I don't remember what the last song was of. What was the last song of the 2013 album? Open Road?
Open Road, yeah.
Okay, so that ended. That's the same thing. Condition Human ended that way. The Verdict, when it came for Portrait, we always, here's why. Because you start at the beginning, you get all this stuff, and at the very end, this is what we like.
Yeah.
Like it's the big party, and then all the confetti falls, and then everyone goes home, and it's quiet, and it's just the book. You read the last page, and you go, and you close the book, and it's soft, and I think that's a good ending. And then you want to play it again. I don't want to end on a big heavy track. I like ending with something that is, more epic. And then when it's done, it's the papers are falling in the air and they're doing this, and then they settle and it's quiet and calm. And it's just a thing that we do. We don't plan it that way. But whenever we listen to all the songs, it's just kind of the way it happens. And when we did this, Craig and I said, this should be the last song on the main record, and it's the same. It's the same thing. It's just that's how I feel when it's done.
If you didn't do that, I would have told you that. Be sure about that. That would be a mistake.
See,
that would be a mistake if you didn't put that this way. So what do you find more interesting in singing from the time that you, more intriguing, I could say, from the time that you began singing professionally a few years ago? Which are the aspects of your voice that you want to expand and you want to explore more?
My high range. I miss my really good high range. When I was in Crimson Glory, my high range was really good, and but I didn't have quite like now. I could sing Painted Skies better now than when I was in Crimson Glory, but Mayday I don't think I could sing now because I was it's just this thing in my voice that it was easy to access, and I was singing all of those Crimson Glory songs all the time, and it was like muscle memory. And then when I got into Queensryche, it was okay. I have to sing clean here, and it's a different approach. There's similarities, but it's different. And so what I want to work on more is accessing that really good high range that I had in Crimson Glory that I don't sing as well now. And I think it's just conditioning. So I'm going to go back into my studio and put on those Crimson Glory songs that I used to sing and practice to that and try to find how to do that again as easily as I used to do it back then. So that's something that I want to work on is my high range again.
Mm-hmm. You worked with your old friend Craig for this album, and you decided that both of you would be the core of the band. In fact, the band itself. Mm-hmm. Did you ever think about doing a solo band kind of thing? And have some more guests, some more well-known guests like Nergal, for example, that you try to have on your album?
You mean would I do that in the future?
If you wanted to do that for your solo album, if you ever thought about that, about having a proper band?
No, because I didn't want to grab famous people just because they had a big name to try to help bring attention to the album, because then it's taking away that it's my record, that it's this famous drummer here and this famous guy here, and then it's like no, To me, this was about going back to my roots. And when the first band I ever joined was Craig's band called Blackwell when I was 14 years old as a drummer, and we became best friends. And in our whole lives, we wrote music together, we played in bands, and we never did a proper record together, like with this kind of platform. So for me, this is me and my best friend doing what we wanted to do in our 20s. And it was like, hey, I finally have an audience, and we can do this on a bigger scale than we ever would have been able to do then. I want you to do this with me. I don't care that nobody knows who you are. You're a badass, and you know how to write the stuff that I like, and we speak the same language. And this is about creating, like, nobody else would have written this record like this if it was not Craig. If it was somebody else, it would have been a totally different record. Like, I'm friends with Gus G. You know, he said to me, yeah, if you ever want to, solo on the record or do this or do that, let me know, because we're friends. Gus is an amazing guitar player. But if I said, hey, Gus, I want to do a solo record, do you want to write it with me? Although I'm sure it would be awesome, it would not have been this record. It would have been awesome in a different way. But this record is about me and my buddy doing what we always wanted to do since our teenage years into our 20s, and it never happened. And I'm bringing him on board to do this with me. Filotimo.
Filotimo, that's it. So we're waiting the second solo album to be with Gus.
Hey, maybe I'll call Gus and he can contribute to the record in some capacity. I don't know, but he's a good friend of mine, and he's an awesome guitar player. He's a very, very special guy.
The only Queensryche affiliate in this album is Zeuss, the producer who mixes and masters the album. Why did you use him instead of not connecting at all your solo album with Queensryche in any way?
Well, couple reasons. Number one, he's one of my best friends. Number two, he's gonna go the extra mile for me. So in other words, if I had somebody else, because Craig and I produced the record and Zeuss did the mixing and mastering, okay? If I sent all the tracks to someone else and he does the mixing and mastering and he hands it back, that's fine. What Zeuss would do is go, hey, dude, I'm listening to you sing this one line, and I think that, I think you should carry that note longer, because he's my friend. He would say, I think you should, redo this line. And I would say, really? He'd be like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. And I say, okay. And I would go back and record something and send that to him. So he's the kind of, and I knew working with him that he was going to do an amazing job on the mix. If I give it to somebody else and I say, the guitar, I don't like the guitar tone. Can you EQ it differently? You'd be like, what the fuck, man? And I don't want any. With Zeuss, I go, no, dude, we're close, but I have a communication with him that I can say what I want, and it's all good. And so he was not hired as a producer. He was just hired, and I paid him like anybody else. To mix the record and master the record, but he went extra for me if there was any little things that he thought needed fixing.
Mm-hmm. Your drum playing is quite different from what we heard in The Verdict.
Sure.
If it was in your hands, and did you want to play like Scott in The Verdict, so as not to alienate the fans, would you have done things differently in The Verdict? Not this one.
I probably would have done a few things differently, but Not that much. I mean, when I hear Michael or when I hear their music, uh, the sound that makes me feel as a drummer calls for the Queensryche style of drumming, right? So, when there's there's things that I played on that record that I know Scott would never have done. But there are a lot of things that if you didn't tell people that wasn't Scott, if you said this is Scott, I think a lot of people would say, "Wow, okay." They would have believed it in most cases. Uh, there's just a certain style that goes with that sound, and so naturally, maybe I don't. I would have done some triplets on the bass drums. Scott doesn't play really triplets on the bass drum, so instead of going do do dat, do do dat, do do dat. I would go do do dat, do do dat, do do dat, do do dat, do do dat. I would add a triplet in there, do do dat, do do dat, do dat, do dat, do do dat, do dat, do dat, do dat, do do dat, do dat. Whereas he would go bat do dat, do dat, do do dat, do dat, do dat, do do dat. He would add a double. I would do a triplet.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Little things, but I wouldn't have changed much.
Queensryche is a band that in the recent years never ceases to provide us with some drama. It was Jeff, now it's Scott. How do you feel that Scott has commented on Queensryche after almost 3 years of being absent? And he has said that he is going to say some things that fans would not like to hear. What do you have to comment on this, on his sudden he being present again all of a sudden?
He said, "I'm having a baby and I need paternity leave." We were like really happy for him. Congratulations, this is great. How much time do you need? I'm thinking 6 months. Okay. 6 months goes by, and then, we learn that he is going to take the rest of the year off. He never came back. I have no idea what he's doing. I don't know what he's up to. I hope that he's doing well. I don't have anything bad to say. I'm just telling you that, actions speak louder than words.
And it's not actions speak louder than words. Sometimes not acting speaks louder than words.
Yeah.
So the current status of Queensryche is who is a drummer? You, Casey, or Scott?
In what capacity? Okay, let me hold on.
If you were releasing an album tomorrow, the lineup would be?
Casey deserves to play on this record, in my opinion. When it comes to writing new songs for this record, Casey is involved. He's showing up, he's participating. When it comes to recording this album, in my opinion, Casey should play drums on this record. He has earned it. He's dedicated every moment of the last 4 years to Queensryche, and he's the guy that shows up to play the live shows, period. So when somebody says, who's the drummer? The guy that's been showing up.
The current Queensryche status about a possible new album, a possible live album, because this pandemic has during this pandemic many bands have released live albums. I guess you have lots of material recorded.
Nah. We have about 2 years of multi-track live recordings from a ton of shows for 2 years worth of shows. So what they're doing now is gathering all those on different hard drives, and what we're thinking is that each guy will pick 15 songs, for example, and say, okay, Todd, you're going to pick 3 songs. These are the 3 songs you're going to listen on all those recordings and find the best performances of these 3 songs. And each person can get 3 songs, that they have to listen to all of those songs and get the best, and then we can compile a live an album of live material. So that's something that we're trying to do, as we
But
speak.
studio recording.
Studio recording. We're writing new stuff now. Michael will be back down here at the beginning of March to work, and Zeuss will come over. Casey lives in Tampa. It's about 30 minutes away. He'll come over and play drums to help with these new ideas. And then, hopefully we can record this year and have an album ready by the beginning part of next year, because we don't know what's happening with touring, and we don't want to sit on a record forever and not be able to tour on it. So hopefully we can have maybe a record out the beginning of sometime next year so that we can tour on it. That's kind of the idea right now, what we're thinking.
Okay, so that's your plan. So for the end, just send a message to the Greek fans.
Well, first of all, it was awesome to finally bring Queensryche back to Greece. We played in Thessaloniki and Athens, and I love the Greek people, and I love their passion and their enthusiasm for the music. It was an amazing show that we played there in Athens as well. Just thank you for all of the support for Queensryche, and go get my new album, and I hope that they're going to like it and share it with their friends, and hopefully when touring opens up, we can come back to Greece and see everybody there, because that's my second home. Correct.
So thank you very much, Story, about this. Thank you very much, and
so,
the best of luck for your album.
Thank you so very much. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah.
I hope that you have a nice day, and thanks for your time and interest.
You too.